We did it the first time as a giggle. We felt there were too many mutants. So we did the massacre to cull the herd.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I talk about the X-Men and X-Men related things. We're in the close to the ending of the Mutant Massacre crossover event where all of the Morlocks have died, almost. Just about all of them.
Yep.
I don't know if you listened to the episodes when they were released. You probably don't go back and listen to them because I never listened to any of my podcasts. But I don't know if you heard that I dropped some Chris Claremont clips of him just talking about, like, literally, there were too many more mutants. We just had to kill them. We just wanted to kill them.
Oh. I haven't listened to that, but that's I like that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's he's got to get rid of them. And the ones he decided to get rid of are literally the easiest consequence.
Yes.
This is like a crash zone in a car, like a crumple zone. You know, we don't really care that much about nobody gives a shit about Anna Lee.
No, not at all.
You know?
I mean, besides Leech, who gets even more traumatized than the last time, than this batch of comics we're doing today, you just feel real bad for Leech.
In X Factor, we get introduced to a new splinter team of Morlocks that I was like certain that they had, existed before that. No, it's just here's some guys, and they're real funny. So I went online. I was doing some Morlock research. It's funny that like about every third Morlock is just a person.
It's just a normal looking, just an average guy.
Yeah, there's no reason. This person. I mean, I know shame if like you choose to live in a sewer, and maybe they are poor. Like it is just poverty that puts them in the sewer. But like in this issue, or one of the X-Men ones we're talking about, Callisto's like, no human hospital would take us. And I'm like, if you brought Anna Lee to a human hospital, they'd just be like, this grandma's fucked. Let's surgery her.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
I don't think they're.
I don't think medical professionals get just a full-on pass just because they're medical professionals. But like, I feel like most nurses and doctors, if you brought Leech to a hospital, wouldn't be like, this is a fucked up mutant child, we're not going to touch him. They would just be like, oh, this kid has obviously gone through it. Like, what's his condition? Like, whatever his medical needs at this moment, and what about his condition could affect the treatment of those medical needs, right? Like, I don't think that they would just be like, mutants, ew.
Yeah, as long as it wasn't in one of the states where they do that for gay people.
Oh,
they're like doctors who you're just like, yeah, I'm not going to, it's against my religion to do this thing. But in most states, I think they would operate on Leech.
Sure. Yeah.
Think of the science. You could like get published. What does Leech have instead of lungs? Only one way to find out.
That's to kill Leech. That's the only solution there is to kill Leech.
Yeah. I'm saying that at the very least, you'd be incentivized to do surgery on Leech for dissection reasons.
Just to get some pictures. What's going on in there?
Yeah. What's inside the mystery box? What's inside Leech crate?
I'm having some sewer issues, and the first guy that came out was like, if that's connected to that, that's a code violation. So we need to get a camera and shove it up there. And I feel like that's exactly the approach they would take to Leak. It's like, here, Leech, here's some anesthetic. We've got a camera on a tube, and we're just going to absolutely just put this inside you somehow.
If you live in New York, you got a Leech guy, you got a Morlock guy, you got an Anna Lee guy. Mm-hmm. You had to have a series of guys to come and evaluate.
I'm trying to figure out like which Avenger I would have access to. Like, who would be my Avenger that I could text out of the blue? Like, I've got a couple of people that like we know each other pretty well. We're friends, but we don't like talk a whole lot. But like, I feel like
you're talking about repairmen. You're not talking about Avengers in that second bit.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
but I feel like there's
Talking
a
about Falcon.
there's like there's like a D-list Avenger that I could potentially have that relationship where I'd be like, hey Falcon, can you come take
Hey,
care of like
Moonstone.
there's a large
Yeah.
lizard in my house, right? Like,
Yeah. Just and you're probably not doing anything. Hey, triathlon.
yeah.
Do you want to come? Do you want to come and I don't know, like play Smash Brothers at 3 times the efficacy of myself?
Triathlon.
Yeah.
You convinced me to read this fucking Kang Dynasty comic, and now I have to put up with triathlon on the fucking page, man. I can't believe it.
I love that he's got. Did you get to the issue where the United States surrenders? The like silent issue.
No.
Oh, it's great. It's pretty good. The United States surrenders to Kang, who in his gigantic sword ship over the United States. Like I'm into it, man. I like that comic.
I'm still in this where like triathlon is like, I can't believe the Avengers don't like the cult that I'm from. you shouldn't disrespect my cult.
The fucked up thing is the cult is correct. Like it goes places. Like there's that cult was real. Kurt Busiek pet thing. I was reading about that run. We'll talk about X-Men eventually, I promise. Reading about that run, Kurt Busiek quit because of the Ultimates. He was like, I don't want to compete with this like hip new continuity free Mark Millar.
Oh,
Ultimates.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and that's what eventually led to like, Chuck Austin took over and it was horrible. Avengers run. Eventually Ant-Man crawls up the wasp pussy, like, not implied, like the comic opens right after he's done. He's just fucking soaked. And then that leads to Avengers Disassembled.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Great.
Early 2000s comics.
Thank you, Chuck Austin. We appreciate your contributions to humanity.
That reminds me, like, one of his like horrible X-Men arcs that are just the most embarrassing thing in the world. I got to get on the show at some point. I want to do something that's a slam dunk. Like we don't have to put it through a history filter to be good, at some point after this, like absolute slam dunk. But then next time we feel like wallowing in some trash,
okay,
get that on there because that stuff's fucking wild. He is awful. Just the worst things you've ever heard an X-Men say.
We get that in the Daredevil issue that we're going to be covering in this session,
dude.
But I am just floored.
I can't wait. It's just absolutely wild. For one of the first Daredevil comics I've read, just really, really a great introduction to 80s Daredevil. This is Uncanny X-Men 212.
Yeah, the cover is just a ripped up Wolverine, claws out, kind of hunched over, get some blood happening. Looks really cool. I like this. I like this style a whole lot. This is great.
This era of like absolutely iconic Uncanny covers. The cover for the next Uncanny, the last issue we're talking about today, is very famous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just incredible art. Art Adams, just perfect stuff.
We're going to catch up with Wolverine, who has shooed the power pack out of the tunnels and is now pursuing any marauders that could still be in the alley, aka the Marauder tunnels. And he's basically just crawling through dead bodies when he sees a bunch of rats coming to eat them. And I hadn't thought about the fact that Wolverine has fangs in a long time, but here he bares his fangs and growls to scare the rats away.
The rats.
And it works, which is great. I think that's very funny.
I really love him. That sound, rats, and just like except the X-Men are so weak and shitty at this point. I was just expecting this to be the fight, like for the rest of the issue. It's just like him getting bodied by these rats.
Or he gets a rat bite, and that's what makes Sabretooth win later. Like, oh god, I would have been able to have this if those rats hadn't punctured my ankle.
Taking 1 hit point. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's just doing some general modeling, thinking about all of the kind of wasted death and wasted potential when Psylocke shows up, and I guess at this point, Psylocke is not a member of the team yet and is not well known in the X-Men. So she's like introducing herself to Wolverine. Like, I'm Bessie Badrick.
Yeah.
Braddock. Excuse me. I kept saying that wrong. It's weird that
Betsy Batrock is a Captain American gender swap villain.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Also, Meatloaf cover band.
Yeah. Batrock out of hell.
Batrock out of
hell. He's a real dick.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The X-Men, since this is like the height of their like we're big messy bees who love drama, whiny baby X-Men. like Pink Claremont X-Men, they really need help, but they're really like, that's not one of our own. Like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to them. And they're just like, stay out of your business, stay out of our business. One psychic we have on the team.
Yeah, and Betsy's like, I live at your house. Like, it's kind of my business. like, they gave me access to Cerebro. I'm here. Like, I am on this. Like, I'm in the game. Like, let's go.
These issues are about her joining the team. The next one we're doing of Uncanny deals with that like directly, and I think is a pretty good issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a fun one. This one, the two of them, like, this is okay. The Uncanny we do at the end is good. The two in the middle are just fucking dumbstrucking in a way that are real fun to me. So she gets off Cerebro, and she's also angsting about how tired she is, not being part of the team. She just wants to help.
Yes.
She goes down to the sick ward where we've lost another Morlock. And this is where they're like, we can't go to the hospital. Like, we can't do anything. And here's Storm starts losing it.
Yeah.
Storm looks at Nightcrawler, who's in a coma. Just like, come back. Looks at Colossus, and Colossus is walking around. Everyone's starting to think like, he's talking about how he wants to go kill a bunch of Morlocks as he's looking on Kitty Pryde.
Marauders.
Who's slowly fading away.
Pretty sure.
As we mentioned.
He wants to kill Marauders, not Morlocks, just to save you a tweet.
Oh, yeah. he's got a taste for it. He wants more.
Fuck Leech in particular. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, duh, what in lungs? Marauders. And this is breaking Storm. She's like, Colossus is a gentle artist. He shouldn't want to kill people. Like, this is really fucked up. This is my fault. I'm the leader. And she runs out.
Yes. And she runs outside to the local cliff and just straight up dives into a lake fully dressed, which is not something that you could maybe pay me to do at this point in my lifetime. Like, I don't know. It would require so much extra money for me to jump into a lake fully clothed. It's not going to happen.
I can't stop thinking about my phone. I would die if I did this. Like, she doesn't drown because she's Storm, but Gary would. One of the funniest things that happens in comics happens after this, though. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm eager to get to these three panels.
No, it's fucking hilarious. So, so Storm dives into the lake, is swimming to the side when Colossus shows up at Betsy's house and is like, "Hey, and then just passes out, falling on top of Betsy Braddock. Just stays there. She cannot move. She is pinned underneath him."
She all the X-Men have been taken out, mostly by Marauders, except Betsy Braddock by Colossus falling over on her and not being able to get up. Like, I didn't realize this was a thing that could happen if Colossus was about.
It's
fucking... they should have training about this.
You would think it's been 0 days since Colossus fell on a woman. Like, there's just a sign up somewhere.
It's the same thing that happened of like a bookshelf, or if like Betsy Braddock was trying to get her money back from a vending machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And kicked it too hard and it falls down on her. Yeah, it's just Colossus, except it's just Colossus.
It's hard to overstate how much the X-Men suck at this point.
I mean,
and I'm so here for just them being absolute fuck ups, nonstop shitbags. It's so funny.
We cut from there to go to Rogue, who was hanging out with Thomas Corsi, who is just a Rambo guy, like just a random Rambo dude. I gotta give him some serious credits.
He hung out all the time with the X-Men during Claremont. Like, he always wanted to have human characters hanging around, and I love him coming from your island and being like, "I got a gun," and it basically makes him a scalp hunter. Like, he's basically effective as a mutant.
Yeah,
at this point, Psylocke is like, "X-Men emergency, come get me." So Rogue goes and flies, and the emergency is she's pinned under. So good.
I'm just like, X-Men emergency. I am under Colossus. It's just the funniest fucking thing ever, dude.
It's really good. She goes and she helps. Like, she picks up Colossus, and Colossus is paralyzed. He cannot move. Rogue says, maybe I can absorb his power, and Psylocke is like, no, I've seen inside his mind. That will kill him. Like, he can't be in his flesh form right now. He's too wounded.
Bummer.
And Betsy Braddock broke some ribs.
Yeah. Nothing. Callisto is like, nothing crucial, and she's like, how very reassuring. To appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Callisto. Who are you now?
Back in the tunnels, Wolverine
Yeah.
is thinking about Psylocke, and then also just thinking about X Factor as he's kind of moving through these tunnels. When out of nowhere, he is slashed on the back by a mysterious person who they named on the cover of this issue because it said Wolverine versus Sabretooth. So we'll see that in just a second.
The thing that distracts him is he smells Jean Grey. So I think at this point he doesn't know Jean Grey is back. He's like thinking of X Factor. He's like Cyclops, Angel, Iceman, Beast, the original X-Men. Why are they X Factor? They're hunting down mutants. He's like a female scent I know as well as my own. So I think he smelled all of X Factor. I feel like the X-Men do not know that Jean Grey is back yet.
Yeah, that would make sense because it's all
And hanging out with Cyclops, and he's got a clone wife, so maybe they wouldn't know.
Cyclops. Can't wait till we get to a point where the kid reveals the Angel and Jean hugged. It's Cyclops.
Yeah,
it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
This is the so messy.
It's so
incredibly messy
Yeah.
period for the X-Men. It's so funny.
Back at the mansion, Rogue is looking for Storm, who is crawling out of the lake trying to hide from rogues because she doesn't want to be found. She is in the midst of a full-on breakdown. Why does everything I care for? Why does everything I care for have to be destroyed? Is that the only achievement of my entire life? Am I a fool for even believing that I could lead the X-Men at all?
Yep.
And then we go back.
She rips off all her clothes.
And then she rips off all of her clothes. Yeah. Which I've never been that mad. I don't know.
No, me either.
You ever been so mad that you got your titties out? I don't know.
No.
No?
Yeah. Like if I'm gonna rip my titties out, it's not because I'm mad, it's because I'm horny as hell. Like I've done that in a fit of passion, but not.
I don't know that I've ever
anger.
like ripped a shirt in a fit of passion, to be honest with you. I don't know if I've ever been that passionate my entire life.
It's I recommend it.
Sounds like we've got some green room chat to be having. Teach me your ways, oh Lovemeister.
No, man, you just wait a little while, and it's just like
I can't.
Not with like real good shirts.
I was about to say I can't replace this. Is a classic WAF shirt. I don't know if it's on the store anymore. I can't be ripping this motherfucker off.
It's not. I mean like a white undershirt, like a white
Gotcha.
pajama tee kind of thing. Back at the mansion, the Doctor crew are all looking at Colossus, and they don't know what to do with him because they can't find his heartbeat. They know he's alive because of Psylocke, but they can't like operate on him. He's made of metal.
Mm-hmm.
And Magneto's like, "Hey, I do that stuff." So he gets down, and this is very confusing. He's talking about how Colossus like loses energy through things. Like he's using his magnetic powers. He cannot bleed in the accepted human sense. Instead, he loses energy through those blast points. I don't know what that means exactly.
I mean, he's talking about like how metal has these like these points, these patterns of force and energy, and that's what and that's what's messed Colossus up. Yeah, sorry, just a really vicious sneeze that hurt.
It's got really, really emotional about Colossus's blast points.
I just tore my shirt off, Gary.
Duh.
Now I have to leave the sneeze in for that whole joke to make sense. Sorry, everybody.
This since this version of X-Men are weak, this almost kills Magneto just to do this. But it did work because Colossus there's like a creak sound effect, and he gives a little goofy smile. And he can, it's very funny, and he can talk, but he's paralyzed.
Yes.
Like he's just a vending machine at this point. He's just a statue.
And Magneto, who is like exhausted after expending this much energy and effort to do this, is like, I don't understand. He should be fully recovered. And I'm like, how many times have you done this? Like, what is?
Yes.
How many times have you got to work on a fully metal dude that you would know that he would be?
I was entirely careful. What training have you done?
Yeah. Show me your work.
One of my favorite just Morlocks who are just dudes show up here because Wolverine looks at Sabretooth. Sabretooth is menacing him, and he's holding a Morlock named Healer.
What's his?
As far as I can tell,
what is his power?
It's just a guy who dresses like a wizard. Yeah. What's this guy's power? What's he do? other than look like he's fucking from Lord of the Rings. Like he's just a wizard.
Just a
It's
normal
real weird.
guy. Yeah, he just has a funny hat. It's so weird that that dude is living. And again, like it could just be like no housing is available, so I'm gonna go live in the sewers. But like, man, it's rough down there on those warlocks. They just have like kind of a self-defeating prophecy about themselves. I think of
Yeah. Dress for the mutant team you want to be in.
Absolutely, 100%.
You can at least do New Mutants, buddy. And they're verbally. This is all Claremontism, like verbal rattling.
Yeah,
you know, like because we're the best at what we do, like you used to be. Talk is cheap, bub. This is just Claremont fight stuff, but it's Sabretooth versus Wolverine in the 80s, so it's fun.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah.
We go back to the lake where Rogue still has not found Storm, but found like the remainder of her clothes,
her magic vest,
and find the vest, the badge of office. And Callisto is like, give that to me, because one time she took the leadership of the Morlocks for me. Wouldn't it be interesting if I took the X-Men away from her? And I'm like, maybe you shouldn't give her the jacket. maybe that's a weird thing. Maybe you should send somebody that has a little bit of sympathy for Storm.
Callisto, before you start leading the X-Men, we just have one interview question. What happened to the last group of mutants you had? Are they doing good?
They okay? They okay?
Yeah, they okay?
Callisto was like, they were fine when I turned them over to Storm. Why? What happened?
Yes. Like it's my first day. Storm has run off to a random farmhouse and stolen their laundry.
Yeah, it turned it into a dress. I love this. Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Callisto's form of like helping here just is yelling at Storm a whole lot about how much of a baby she's being, and like slapping her across the face and like trying to fight her, basically goading her into taking on the responsibility that Callisto feels that she can't abandon. Like she would, if all of those people died to live up to the X-Men and Professor Xavier's dream, then her abandoning it means that they died for nothing, which is a lot for a person. That's a lot of responsibility to put on one person, and but that's fine because hey, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But it actually works. Like they they fight, they're going to kind of come to this conclusion, which is cool. I really like this whole thing. This is all awesome.
It's a good scene. Yeah, it's a real good scene. Like Storm got overwhelmed with leadership, and Callisto does tough love and keeps pushing it. Like it goes on a little bit longer than you think it would. It's not easy to convince Storm to come back. And this is being paralleled with the fight between Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Exactly.
As they're brawling in the sewers, there's like good line, like the difference is like you're a person who kills, but I'm a killer.
Yeah.
Like that's not who you are, it's who I am, and that's why I'm gonna win. And say that's always been, Sabretooth's thing with him. But Wolverine, because he's not a killer, keeps his eyes on the prize, does a trick that, like, I think this is maybe the 7th time this has happened in this crossover that somebody has brought down a roof on Sabretooth.
Absolutely. Yeah. These tunnels
it just keeps happening.
I don't know how they're still standing at this point. Like, you can't have superheroes running this place down. I do want to just comment, like, the actual fight art in this, as they're like rolling around on the ground, is so good. Like, it could easily just be so over the top and like, but like the anatomy makes sense. Like, and I know that's a baseline. Like, it's not a high bar, but I really feel like it is kind of a high bar sometimes in these comic books, where you can actually like see what's happening in the fight, you can get all of the motion from it. It's just really, really good.
Yeah, the art in this book, this is Rick Leonardi as a guest artist for this, and he does a really good job. The next one I think is Art Adams, who I've always loved.
Oh yeah, the next one is brilliant. Yeah, I love the next one.
Yeah, just the art is just really incredible, like perfect, perfect on model 80s X-Men shit. Really good fight. Really great, like little, parallel here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like with Callisto, doing the emotional fight with Storm, and convincing Storm that she is who she is, and Wolverine realizing he is who he is at the same time. Really good stuff.
Really, really good stuff. And that is the next page that we get, is Callisto finally convincing Storm to put the jacket back on and to lead the team and to learn that you are worthy of the respect that she is getting. And that's when Wolverine arrives to Rambo and Rogue, who are just hanging out. I'm not going to call him anything but Rambo. That's a Rambo, dude. Like, I know what a Hulk looks like, and I know what a Rambo looks like. So,
like, And then in something that is kind of weird that happens in this, that's going to be a subplot. He's got Healer. He's really excited about it, and they're going to escape the sewers. And they feel in the last Thor issue, he shot lightning throughout the sewers to burn all the bodies. Here, there's a real weird beat in the next Uncanny where Storm's not sure if she did it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you had a pretty airtight alibi. We watched you fight in a laundry pile.
Yeah.
But
you were beside a lake. Like, how do you think, why do you think that you did this? Like, you were 40 miles above what happened. Like, what are you doing?
You're not in the same city. Westchester is different than New York, like the city. Not
in tunnel. Sorry.
I guess that's true. Yeah. They do live in similar tunnels, but this is they're worried like, the kids, New Mutants, X Factor, everyone who's still in the tunnels is dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is the end.
And that's where that issue ends.
Yeah. Wow. We are going to move on to X Factor number 11, which has a cover. Where is the front page of Cyclops just balling out,
shooting something off camera?
Yep.
Just while a real weird like NES game, like a video for a bad guy from Shatterhand, like shoots him. This Berserker is amazing looking. Like this crew, dude.
Berserker's design is bonkers to me, and we'll get there. But like, apparently I just thought his hair was like that. Like I just thought he styled his hair, but that's like a part of his mutant condition apparently. Because when he goes back to like his mutant form later on, like the hair comes back, and I'm like, that's dope. That's extremely cool.
This guy is great for just like a weird one-off, like the tunnelers who we're gonna get to. We start off with them. Right in the thing, they're chasing down X Factor as X Factor is trying to leave the sewers with Caliban and Artie. We have our members of the tunnelers here. It's what is the lizard lady's name? There's a shapeshifter who can turn into a dinosaur that is very weak to bullets.
Yes.
Berserker who shoots energy beams and has a cool haircut. Mask who shows up later. Mask survives. Who's got really creepy powers. He's like a it's the same thing that there's a Vampire the Masquerade clan does it with a sculpt flesh. Like you can touch your body and change the shape of your flesh. And then Blowhard, dude,
who blows, is he blowing stuff out of his like little pipe there? Is that?
Yep.
Is that
he by using his magic pipe, his mutant pipe, he can blow air out of it. I was looking him up, and there's not a whole lot of stuff. This is his only appearance, first and last appearance, right here. Blowhard.
R.I.P. Blowhard. I want to mention
little fat guy, little short, fat, bald guy as well, which I love. Little Danny DeVito.
I hadn't thought about Mask in years, and seeing him pop up in this comic almost unannounced, like threw me back to reading a comic book as a kid that he was in, where he's like, you can tell that he is like has his hand on someone's face, and I want to say it was one of the X-Men, but I may be wrong. But he's literally manipulating the flesh, like that's his whole power to do, right? And it just being insanely the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like I don't know why, but something about that just like deeply creeped me out. Where I was just to the point of like, I need to turn the page immediately. Like Mask freaked me out as a kid.
He's great. I think I know what you're talking about. I think that is in. Because he ended up hooking up with like Morlock's Next Generation, which is where Marrow came from, and they eventually formed like the militant Morlocks, Gene Nation.
Yeah.
I think he's involved in that.
That could be that. Yeah.
He's great. He's real spooky.
Yes.
Scaleface is the name of the lady who turns into a dinosaur who's weak to bullets.
What is the point of dinosaurs if you could shoot them? I feel like you just made a bad funny. Dinosaur.
Intimidation.
They so Iceman and Beast are here. They're carrying Callisto and Leech. So of course, as the tunnelers attack, their powers stop working. And it's just going to be a bunch of punches. There's a lot of like they treat Leech like a football. Like it's basically like Avengers Endgame with the fucking Infinity Glove, just running it across the field trying to get away either close to or away from somebody.
Blowhard has his classic line as he punches Beast in the face. You corked old Blowhard's pipe, Marauder, but it ain't helping you out one jot.
Got him.
Got him one. And I love that Beast's like, Marauder, I'm not a... And that, that's it. This is just a superhero misunderstanding fight thing. But Lee's just taking away all their powers, and the X Factor realize that with Leech there, they don't have their powers. They're outnumbered.
Yes.
So they'll definitely lose. So they have Leech, they throw the football away so everyone gets their powers back so they'll have a chance.
And then they start losing again. Like they don't, doesn't help at all. Like the, whatchamacallit, the shapeshifter chick is like Scaleface just crunches down on Iceman. It's very hilarious to me.
Yeah. We cut over to Jean Grey, Artie, and Scott carrying Broken Angel through the sewers. And Jean is angsting about, what just happened, of course. And Cyclops is trying to put on a bright side to it a little bit. Like, we saved some of them. Like this was the best we could do. And it's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
There, which is fair enough.
And this is where, I've already forgotten this child's name. Who is this child? Artie.
This is Artie. Recaps the plot.
Yeah, recaps the plot. But then also shows Cyclops when Jean and Angel hugged one another, and it looks like, like as far as hugs go, like this looks like just the most PC hug of just like, oh, here is some comfort, fellow friend. But like Cyclops is like, I knew this would happen. She's turned away from me just because I'm married to a girl who looks exactly like her.
It's right. Way back in the day when I was first getting into the X-Men and the internet, there was a Usenet thing that was like a frequently asked questions about the X-Men. And one of them was like, why do so many X-Men fans hate Cyclops? And I didn't have the context for it. And this is why. Like this era of Cyclops where he just had the clone wife and is this kind of jealous baby is why everyone hated Cyclops. Like he didn't start becoming redeemed really until like the late 90s, early 2000s and become like a really interesting character.
Yeah.
This is pretty crummy Cyclops. And he's talking about how it's his own fault. And he's also blaming himself not only, because Jean, of course she was going to leave me. I'm an incel, but because I snapped at Angel, that's why he ran off. And that's why he's going to die. It's real. Again, the messiest period for the X-Men, big emotions everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. They stumble onto the fight that's in progress, and Cyclops is able just to zap everybody away from everything and almost instantly end the fight. But Berserk is like, wait a minute, like we're going to kill you. And Cyclops is like, why? Like, we're not marauders. And it's because of this weird thing between the Exterminators and the X Factor. And I'll be honest with you, Gary, I'm almost 42 years old at this point. I can't keep them fucking straight either, man. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I know these are the good guys, but I don't know why or when they're pretending and all of this other stuff. It's just way too complicated of a thing. Like the whole premise is like so weirdly constructed that I just check out. I'm just out of it. I'm like, whatever. I don't care anymore.
I think that the writers also ended up agreeing with that since they drop it relatively soon. I recall. There's a similar weirdness with Marauders where there's Marauders and there's Tunnelers. So the Marauders are two different kinds. The Tunnelers, which are this militant gang, and then the Drain Dwellers, which are the peaceful Morlocks that the Tunnelers think are weak. And they're just like, we saved, like, why would you attack us? We saved a bunch of Marauders. Thought, Ape, Erg, Beautiful Dreamer, Skids, Tar Baby. He starts listing Marauders.
That one wizard from Lord of the Rings.
Not Marauders, Morlocks, which I love. He's like, the Drain Dwellers, they aren't worth saving. So there's a schism in the Morlocks we'd never heard of.
Yeah, very weird.
They say like, I love this little bit here where they're like being jerks. The Tunnelers are being jerks, and they're gonna go back off in the sewers. Iceman's like, lit them. If they get killed by a Marauder, we'll serve them right.
Iceman is already thinking to himself,
ice cold.
Yeah, there's only 6 rooms available in the X Factor headquarters, and all of them are occupied. I do not want to share a bunk with Mask because I'm just terrified of what he'll do to me.
And then Cyclops is like, yeah, we don't do that. We have to save him.
Yeah.
I love him just like squeezing this out. Like, we have a complex. It's safe. We invite you to join. Like squeezing the word out. And they're like, Berserker's like, fuck this. He's real proud. And Mask is, saying maybe we should do it. Like you're saying you're protecting us. What happened to the other 6? Implying that the Tunnelers used to be a much bigger gang. before the Marauders fucked him up.
I'm glad you looked up and found out that there's like no other information available before this, because I was like you. I was like, oh yeah, this must be an established thing that I just don't remember from this era of comics. But no, if it came out of nowhere, then that's even better. Like I don't ever have to worry about him again.
This fucking got blowhard pilled so hard. I was like, who is this weird little wind dwarf that hangs out with the Morlocks? Like, I must know more about this little fat man.
Hickman's probably going to like base his entire next reboot of the X-Men universe off of, blowhard.
Oh, yeah. Well, he could come back in the Krakoan era.
I know.
You can bring him back to life. They brought a healer back to life, apparently, in my Morlock research. So the old weird wizard healer got brought back.
Thank God. We need one of those at all times. Eventually, the tunnelers decide to join up, and we're moving back to the complex. This is where Cyclops finds out that it's been revealed that Warren Worthington was sponsoring all of their stuff, but they can't really deal with it. And unfortunately, this is also where Callisto decides to wake up. Not Callisto, Caliban decides to wake up and start immediately freaking out.
Yep. This is the beginning of Dark Caliban. Like he's, wants vengeance.
Yeah.
So this is the Caliban that eventually becomes a horseman and does all that stuff. Joins the X-Men, for a little bit. I like that the way that Berserker found out about Warren Worthington is because he manipulates the entire electromagnetic spectrum, including TV and radio waves. So he picks up TV.
Yeah.
Like he heard the news report through his like weird headband, his weird mohawk antenna or something. Very cool. They hear Thor start incinerating bodies, so they run. And like pretty irresponsible of Thor to not check to see if anyone else was in the sewers before setting the entire sewers on fire. Because they barely make it. They get into their complex just as a huge, plasma wave of fire and lightning just destroys the rest of the sewers and burns everything to a crisp.
Thor, what are you doing? This is so weird. I mean, irresponsible doesn't even cut it. Like you could like, what if the city had collapsed what if you had collapsed the tunnels? The entire, like, this could have been like all of a sudden there's just a hole where Manhattan was because you burned all of the tunnels. It's crazy. Yep. Comic books are so fucking dumb sometimes. I love it.
It's incredible, especially in this era. Like, they make it in. Everybody, the Morlocks and the Tunnelers and the, are all, reuniting here on their beds in their big, gigantic, empty room. And this is where Berserker's like, wait a minute, Angel and Cameron Hodge, you're not the exterminators, you're X-Factor. Again, just suspecting them. They spend a lot of time explaining this nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm with you that I'm basically tired of it.
Yes. Agreed.
We cut over to the police, and there are protesters. There's a weird line here where they soon in the midst of a pro-Angel demonstration outside the X-Factor complex.
What?
But when you look, when you look at the things, it's all like down with X-Factor, and they have to sneak out. I don't understand why this is a pro-Angel.
So I guess if it's revealed that, because the idea is that X-Factor is a mutant hunting organization. But what's really happening is that they are getting help to mutants. So, but when it's revealed that there's a mutant that's sponsoring the whole thing, then you have your down with X-Factor, who are humans, who the public perceives to be humans chasing mutants, and yay Angel for funding them. Okay, I thought I was going to explain it when I did all of this, and then at the end it all fell apart.
Patiently waiting for you to get there. Like,
this makes no fucking sense whatsoever, Gary.
Yeah, and at first I was trying to remember, like, does the public know that Warren Worthington is Angel? But it's a pro-Angel demonstration. It's not a pro-Warren Worthington demonstration, which would also be a weird thing to happen. So I don't exactly understand this.
Who, what version of George Soros is funding the hooray Angel fucking signs that the protesters are carrying around? And like, what are they protesting?
Paid protest.
Just the existence? What are they doing?
It's a demonstration. It's also weird because they're now saying, like, so I could see them saying down with X-Factor because they found out X-Factor is not the mutant hunters they thought. Like, the public was on X-Factor's side. The mutants weren't, but humans were.
Yeah.
I think that it's just a mistake that's called a pro-Angel demonstration.
Dude, I have no idea.
They could just leave out the word pro-Angel, a demonstration outside, and they'd be like, okay, they're protesting X-Factor because they found out a mutant funds it.
Did I
that's fine.
did I tell you about the dumb protest thing that happened here like a couple of years ago?
Mm-mm.
There was a
No.
young kid got killed by the police, and which is not good at all.
That's not the
obviously.
dumb part.
That's not the dumb part.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how this came to be, but like somebody went to protest outside of the mayor's house, and their protest activity of choice was a barbecue. Like they literally set up a grill and started cooking outside the mayor's house, and the mayor. This is the dumb part. The mayor calls the police and gets the police to arrest these people who are just cooking outside his house. So then the entire like local Facebook meme trash pages like turned into like, Josh Guillory hates spicy food and all this other shit. And I just like imagine like getting like someone's outside your house like making some brisket and you're like, no, that's not allowed. You're invading my rights.
No, my watch. Not today, brisket.
And I just picture like this is what that's got to be what like a pro like if you did a pro Jeremy protest, like I would expect some fucking grills to be out there. Someone needs to be making some sausage and some boudin. Like we need to be getting into this. That's
It'd be nice and confusing too.
Yeah.
Like why is this happening? We found out Jeremy funds his house.
Jeremy pays all of his bills, and y'all are for that. Y'all are
down
into
with
that.
Greer's.
Down with Greer's. Get him out of here. Cancel Jeremy. Our tunnelers decide that they're going to leave. They've been asked to stay, but they decide to jet, and they get masked to change up all of their faces, and they pretend to be the cleaning crew as they leave in front of the cops. I guess the cops are not allowing people to leave. This doesn't make any fucking sense to me whatsoever. I don't really care.
I don't know
it.
what's going on. Yeah.
But they escape and are immediately run into by a vicious gang. They named the gang later, and I can't remember. I'll have to go look ahead at it. But it's a dumb name for a gang. So
yeah, they've shown up in multiple things. I think this gang is a known gang. There's also a little subplot introduced with a bigot cop and a non-bigot cop.
Yeah.
They're going to have their minds changed here. They're going to get radicalized by this fight. They're into the gang. I really love this where they're like, mask, restore, berserker, quick. When they see us, they'll back off. And the gang is just like, what? Mutants? Shoot them. Like, we have guns. These
so
guys
much
have
worse.
learned nothing from the fucking Marauders.
No, not at all. Absolutely nothing. Like the dudes just whip out all of their weapons and just start blazing, dude. Like this guy's so sucks.
Rip Blowhard immediately gets just murked.
I will say, like I was surprised by the violence in this issue because like we haven't seen like even the Marauders and stuff. Like we've seen the violence, but like seeing like Blowhard just get fucking shot with blood splashing out, like the bullets going through him was surprised me. And of course, as you might imagine, Berserk goes berserk at this and starts killing all of the humans. Mask does too. Mask starts like changing up their face and fucking them up a little bit. One of them makes it to the phone to like call the cops and is immediately exploded.
Yep. Yeah, they everybody dies in this.
Yeah.
We cut over to where Angel is being cared for at a hospital. So much for the Morlocks. Like we can't do this. I love this Doomer Scott. Like he used to love to fly. It was his life, and now, if only I hadn't lost my temper. And Jean Grey's like, don't beat yourself up, and they're gonna heal him. And Scott's like, it's real bad though. It's real bad.
It's super bad.
She's
man.
like, don't bury him yet, Scott. Like, Scott kind of wants him to die so he won't hug anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
They go down to the waiting room to drink coffee that's not bad for hospital coffee when they get the news report of this and they see Mask's handiwork, so they run out.
Yeah.
They put on their exterminator outfits, their non-villain outfits, to go save these people.
They go to the roof.
In between, we get a little,
which I think is really weird. Like they both go to the roof to change. Like it just seems like something held over from a previous comic or something. Like I don't know why. Like I know Jean Grey can fly and she can like tote people or whatever, so they could get off the roof. But it just seems really weird. It seems like a thing Batman would do more than like not all superheroes like spend time on the top of a hospital, right? Like it's just so weird.
Yeah, I also was thinking about how uncomfortable it would be to wear 2 full-length bodysuits all the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like really hot. We get a little 2-page subplot of Apocalypse that's been running through these X Factor issues of him recruiting his horsemen. Here he's recruiting Abraham Lincoln Quiros.
Yeah.
I almost said this soldier Abraham Lincoln without reading the last word, and I was like, hold up. What time crimes is Apocalypse committing? But this is a paraplegic mutant who is in a veterans hospital, and he teleports him away. This guy eventually becomes War and becomes the horseman with the worst haircut.
Yes.
In horseman haircut history.
But we have mutant problems to deal with. So we jump back over to Jean Grey and Cyclops floating through the air towards the piers where a bunch of cops have pinned down the remainder of the tunnelers, which is just Berserk and Face Scale or Scale Face or whatever her name is. They decide, and we get a little bit more of that subplot that you mentioned of like, one cop, they're bored with their powers, Joe. They decide how to use them and that kind of stuff. Like they're going back and forth a little bit. And of course, Scott.
80s were a huge time for two cops telling each other the themes of the comic that they were in.
Yeah.
It just happened like every other issue.
Yeah. I mean, Rush Hour was a thing, right? Like Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy started this. Like, I feel like that was just the thing. And of course, Cyclops is blaming himself because he convinced these people to come above ground, and now they are, doing a bunch of bad shit.
Cyclops tries to get him to stand down. They won't do it though. The Scale Face is like, "You're not going to take me," and turns into a dinosaur who just immediately goes down to a couple bullets and just dies. So it's not, doesn't have the proportionate strength of a dinosaur or anything. This drives Berserker nuts. He's like, she wouldn't have hurt you. She said that you were just defending yourself. Like she was on your side. I'm going to make it my business to fuck up every human that exists. Like you are all going to die, and just starts blowing shit up.
Yep.
And it is only, the cops cannot fight him. Cyclops does it, blast him into the water and drowns him. So he dies.
Presumably drowns him. Like, I guess that's the implication.
Yeah.
The cops show up.
They scan for him and they can't find him. And it is his last appearance at the very least. So maybe he'll show up in some Matt Fraction stuff. But
get him, Matt. make this weird character good.
Matt just trudging the bottom of the East River looking for characters.
The cops show up and they're like, "Oh, these are the exterminators. They saved us." But Jean Grey is like, "Okay, let's grab Mask and let's float our way out of here." And then at the very end of the cops situation, one of them is just like super upset and has learned a lesson about shooting dragons that are threatening him. I guess I don't know what the lesson is he's supposed to learn here, but he's like, "Maybe now you'll believe me when I tell you it's them or us." Like he's learning the wrong lesson, right? Like this is terrible. This is a horrible comic book.
It's hard to tell what he'll take away from it. Like he's very upset that he killed her, because she was just a girl, and his bigoted partner's like, that'll show you. Like it was her or us, So it's all very tragic. We cut over to the end here. We have Boom Boom, one of my favorite X-Men New Mutant type characters here, who is working for the Vanisher at this point. He wants her to hand over all of her ill-gotten gains, all she stole, and she puts one of her little time bombs in there. And basically this is her being like, "Fuck you, you're a wuss, I quit."
Yeah.
She's eventually going to join X Factor as like part of their junior team with Skids and Rusty and stuff.
And eventually she will join Next Wave, which is a very good comic book.
Yeah. No. This ends with Cyclops and Jean Grey putting back on their X Factor outfits, going back and talking to the doctor, and they're like, "Well, Angel will live, but the wings have to come off." Which would be a big deal.
Huge deal. Yeah. If your whole mutant power is your wings, then that is a situation.
It's the one thing he's got,
This comic book made
very intense and just
made so very little sense throughout the entire thing. I was so confused between the tunnelers and the drain dwellers, and then all of the other weird X Factor or exterminators. Like it just gets so fucking like bogged down in its own bullshit.
It is full of bullshit. I have to say, out of the two middle ones that we're doing, I do kind of like it because I like the tunnelers as just like this shitty team of like real angry idiots who keep dying. And it's got my boy in it. So
Blowhard. You are the world's foremost Blowhard fan.
Big Blowhard. I'm going to get him printed on a t-shirt.
Hell yeah.
Because the X offices did this crossover. So like we have, the Claremont comics, and then we have the New Mutants, Louise Simonson comics. And Nocenti was also, that's the editor of the X books at this time, creator of Longshot. During this time, she was writing Daredevil. And Daredevil gets a Mutant Massacre crossover in one of the weirdest fucking comics I've ever read. This is so bonkers. Dude, this is not like anything else in the crossover or any other comic.
This is insanity. This is absolute insanity.
Yeah.
Have you known Sabretooth to have this sort of personality in other comic books. Like I feel like he got
Nope.
like somebody got handed like a 3-sentence bio and like one of the lines was he's a beast trapped in a man's body or something, and they were like, got it. I know his whole personality, and like ran with it.
Here's the thing, Jeremy. You say somebody got that thing. In that scenario, the person who would hand them that would be the editor, who is the person who's writing the comic. Like that is the editor's job, is to keep characterization and stuff straight and coordinate all of these things. Like this is literally what Ann Nocenti does. She handed herself that fucking note. Like, I don't know if she just always wanted Sabretooth to be like this. You know, like if I were writing it, you know, I guess this is consistent, but if I were writing Sabretooth, he'd be a weird manimal. Yeah, it doesn't, there's nobody who would have given that to her. She is the person. It's very fucking strange.
It's absolutely
like Jim
bonkers.
Shooter is the editor-in-chief. Ralph Macchio edits Daredevil, but Ann Nocenti got her start and her big thing was editing the X-Books. It's bizarre. All the dialogue in this reads like it comes from Mr. Boop. That webcomic about being married to Betty Boop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's like a part where a kid's like, I hope this doesn't create problems for my friend, the Daredevil. Like just unprompted to nobody. Like it's so good.
Yeah, the driving motivation for this fight, the reason that Sabretooth and Daredevil fight is that a kid tells Sabretooth that Daredevil exists, and that's it. Like, and Sabretooth takes off like a fucking bullet. Like, oh, he talking some shit? I'm gonna go put him down. Like, it's fucking weird, man.
It's that, and a shopkeep was like, anti-heroes suck, Daredevil. I lost my store. And Daredevil has to wrestle with that. I will admit, I don't know a lot about comics Daredevil. You know, I haven't read a lot of comics Daredevil. So this is probably accounts for 20% of my exposure to him. And it's buck wild.
Like, I love it. I absolutely adore it. Yes. I've read some Daredevil stuff, and it's all, like good runs, like highly, commended runs or whatever. And the Daredevil doesn't really act like this. I mean, he still does there's a running theme of, am I creating my own suffering by being the Daredevil, right? Like that's kind of part of that character and how they created it. And there's some of that in here, but like, it's usually good. Like it's usually written kind of good, not terrible like this, man. This is so fucking awful. I can't even describe it.
Well, the thing that's wild to me about this is like there are things about the plotting about it that I think are kind of neat. So like the part where the kid and the kids, like we'll just get into it. Like there were the kids and the cat parallels with Daredevil and Sabretooth. Showing that is real ham-handed, but I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I could see like it being the first time I saw this in a comic. I think it was kind of good. The dialogue is just so fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like any people saying it. So it starts off with this, narration about how he's more animal than beast, than man, et cetera, et cetera. He comes across this thing because the tunnels now were hot property. Now cool young punks want to live there now that the Morlocks are no longer there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Sabretooth's saying, these are my tunnels. I'm no longer marauding. I'm just going to live here and take a tunnel wife. In fact, the tunnel wife that you have right here.
Yeah. Hey, Blondie, like you're my girl now. Like he's like, I want to be careful. These are my tunnels.
This panel, dude.
Be careful, or I'll put the mark of Sabretooth on your face. I'll put it across your throat, and like slashes the dude's face. And then he looks at him and says, "And I want the woman."
Yep.
It's so fucking.
I'm very glad this was written by a lady. Like, not that it excuses anything like that, but this would feel real gross if it was written by like a dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything, but like, and she's like, I don't want that. And one of the other gang members like, let her go. And he goes, no, now that she's mine, I die for her.
What?
Just unprompted declarative statements.
What the fuck is going on with Sabretooth, man? And Jake and Bob just fucking jet. Like Jake and Bob leave. They were like, I'm not gonna die for nobody. See you later, random blonde girl that was hanging out with us in its tunnel. And like they just fucking leave. And he like Sabretooth grabs her, throws her on a bed, and is like, this is your bed. Our bed.
Yeah, it's menacing. It's somewhere off camera he changed her to a pipe because he goes to sleep. I love him sleeping with his claws out. In the meantime, there's his mate, and there is sleep because the hunger has risen again because he is a beast.
What? I was reading this and going like, is this a different Sabretooth? Like, is this another different
Sabretooth 2?
Oh man,
it's really fucking bizarre. We cut over to Daredevil, and Daredevil is just leaping aback, and the narration here gets fucking nuts. Like, there are more sports metaphors per page in this than a comic about sports. It is nonstop just being like jumping higher than an Olympic athlete. And if you knew he was blind, you'd give him the Congressional Medal of Freedom.
What?
It's really, it's,
He lands, sliding in as if into the game-winning run at home plate. What?
It's nonstop and constantly like, if you knew he was blind, you'd know this was even more impressive. And then he sees two dogs fighting and he has this thought bubble. He's like, this is one fight I won't stop. None of my business. Yeah, we'll just see which stronger dog wins. And like, I don't know, man.
He hangs out to watch it too, man. Like he just like
Yeah,
he lets them finish the
watching a
fight.
dog fight.
Yeah.
Hey kids, is this your superhero? Like, I'm not saying that if it came down to saving a human or stopping a dog fight, sure. But stopping to watch the dog fight, and then the dog stops and eats some garbage. He's like, the dog eating moldy cake, coffee grinds, garbage. It's the wildlife of the city, the jungle animals who eat trash. He sounds like a weird Twitter. Like he sounds weirdly ahead of his time.
Did you see? I saw a bunch of it retweeted on my timeline. Danny DeVito, like I guess he was live tweeting.
Dude,
whatever that TV show that he is on. It was just saying weird things that make no sense out of context. And he didn't
announce it. He was just like, "Who fucked Satan?"
Yeah, that's very.
What are you doing, dude?
Like I bet you could just take those tweets and plop them in these text boxes, and it would make more sense than this fucking comic book does. It's bonkers.
I love unprompted. It's like my favorite category of humor. Like someone just saying something, there's no impetus, just go. So good.
Daredevil hears some crime, so he goes to run, and then I love that the guys just know Daredevil because he's like, "Oh man, not again!"
Yeah.
And then
yes, again. May I borrow your belt? Like everything is just very strange.
I love.
Thank you.
He ties up.
Sure, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Like it's like a kid wrote the dialogue after it had already been drawn.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. The response, because the other dude leaves, he tries to run away. Of course, Daredevil like throws his billy club like the bat of a slugger who already knows he just hit one out of the park. Just another sports reference.
That's not how you throw after you've hit out of the park. You don't aim your bat and then toss it at something specific. You just drop it. He's just like, why do you always run?
Just stupid, I guess.
What? All the world feels like somebody just did this as a shit post.
Incredible energy, absolutely incredible. And then the guy,
this took me by surprise so much. Like I was reading all of these last night, right? And like, I love 80s X-Men. Like we talk about it. Can be a little bit boring. Like my eyes will glaze over at the like narration, Claremontism text box.
Yeah.
So when we switched to this, I had no idea what I was in for. This gear shift is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this is just bonkers, dude. This is absolutely fucking bonkers. Yeah. Especially because, like, once he's taken out the crime guys,
what's his lawyer do?
This fucking dude just like shows up and is like the guy who was being robbed, like starts yelling at him, blaming Daredevil and a fight that he had with a super soldier nuke, which happened, I guess, in issue 233, and for destroying his store and for like just running Daredevil down. Like, if you didn't exist, none of these other villains would exist, and you shouldn't be doing this. You need to leave. And Daredevil's like, here's your wallet back, I guess. See you later.
So I read this. I guess it is his wallet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the gesture is pure confidence. The toss. Perfect. When I first read this, I thought he was giving this guy the mugger's wallet. And I was like delighted.
Reverse mug to
here's
somebody.
Your money back for your shop.
Yeah. Here's your money back for your time.
Yeah.
We switch over to these two kids. I don't like.
I don't know what's going on with these guys.
Do you think that this is like established characters? Like, do you think that these two have like shown up before? Like,
I hope so. I'm so unmoored. Like, they're watching the Wolfman, like a Wolfman radical werewolf thing. There's a kid wearing a little helmet, and as a prank, while his, and it's like, oh, don't hurt the hero, and we don't know who the hero is. As a prank, the little brother throws his cat at her. The picture of the cat's face is like,
the cat is so into this. The cat is loving this. Later on, this cat just finds a rat and just kills it for fun. And I feel like this is the start of that descent into madness, into that. He just made his cat feral by throwing it at his sister.
Ann Nesenti has no care for animals, and her characters don't either.
Yeah.
Like,
Nope.
Daredevil will not stop a dogfight, and a cat is just a weapon. Like, you wouldn't throw a cat at somebody because the cat would claw the person, and it wouldn't be the cat's fault because you threw the cat. It's a living creature, you know?
The sister gets super mad and starts like beating him up a little bit, and then we're introduced to the parents who are just like faceless beings. just weird.
They're shot like William Stryker. Like they're shot like in God Loves Man Kills or something. Like they're evil preachers who are starting the Sentinel program.
It is so bizarre. And the children are, and they're like, don't watch television. That's going to ruin you. I don't want them worshiping superheroes. Yeah. And the kids.
It's cool for you to throw cats.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
But
just turn off
whatever
the
you
TV.
do, don't have your brain rotted by this. No more TV.
Jesus Christ. This is so fucking stupid, Gary.
Ludicrous. He's like, stop watching TV. Don't let me catch you playing with Raphael and his gang of thugs. He's like, of course not, Daddy. Bye, Daddy. We're going to the library, Daddy. He says Daddy 3 times in this fucking thing. It is so shitpost feeling.
What, like, how old are these kids that you're worried about them hanging out with Raphael and the thugs? Because when we go to the next page, Raphael is like a teenager. Like, there's a bunch of teenagers hanging out around.
I think they're supposed to be teens because the sister calls him pizza faced.
Okay.
Like he's got pimples, but they're drawn like little kids. They're drawn like Power Pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when we were watching, when we first see especially the little boy looks like he's like 6. That's because I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Well, you don't survive to be a teenager if you wear like a fun, motorcycle trick helmet all the time. Like kids who wear helmets all the time don't hang out with gangs.
No, not at all.
You know?
Yeah. Which you would think, because I mean, a motorcycle gang probably should have a helmet on, but that doesn't work that way. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And they just don't wear them. And not these kind of gangs. So this is like in Ninja Turtles when they go find all the bad kids who like play arcade games and smoke all the time.
Yeah.
They're being trained for the Foot Clan. It's like that in the sewer. Like now that the Morlocks aren't there, the sewer is the fucking place. And all the kids in New York are setting up beds and boomboxes and building huts.
Fucking
and stuff.
Incredible, dude. I get it. Like,
Losing
I mean,
my mind.
As a teenager, if I'd found like the fucking alley, the fucking Morlock tunnels, like I would be so hyped. Like that'd be the place to hang out. It would be amazing.
The overwhelming smell of human shit would keep me away, I think. The whole fact that this is a sewer, like I get, Ninja Turtles and stuff. It was a good time to hang out in the sewer. But this is where feces flows to go down to water purification plants and stuff.
Is it?
They're fighting and stuff. And
we don't ever see it. I feel like these are just.
I assume that there was some when they were like Wolverine's trudging through some liquid. That's got to be pee and poo poo.
I guess so, dude. I guess so. I absolutely guess so.
It's a sewer. That's what they're for. I'm not saying everything in this. There's also maintenance tunnels and stuff like that. I'm not ignorant. I know it's not just like lakes and lakes.
It's just giant, huge tunnels of poop. Like, yeah,
I know that, but like I bet you it smells down here. If nothing else, like dead Morlock.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or crispy Morlock because
or just live Morlock. Yeah. Like it's not gonna be a good smelling zone, man. Like, they're all fighting. All these teens are fighting, and this awakens Sabretooth.
Yes.
He starts growling because this wakes up the beast within. And the little helmet kid, his first job to be part of the gang is to go find out what made that howl. He doesn't really go. He kind of starts walking a little bit, but Sabretooth comes to them.
Yeah. And
Sabretooth has his famous line, "You little insects, how dare you wake me up?
I have slept and now I hunger." And Sabretooth looks like an old man. He looks like a weird, mushy old man face. Like, I don't know.
He looks like a mask of an old man.
Dude, this is...
He looks like a rubber mask.
And this little kid is like, "This is New York, buddy. These streets belong to Daredevil." And this is enough to infuriate Sabretooth. And the dude goes out and immediately just goes to hunt Daredevil.
And the kid goes, "Uh-oh, what I do for Daredevil?" Incredible Mr. Boop dialogue.
And of course, Daredevil is like flying around on the street tops. I don't know how Sabretooth gets to the top of a fucking building or whatever, but who cares? Because he sneaks. They start to like sense each other. They smell one another. But Sabretooth is a lot faster than Daredevil, and it gets the first blood, slashes him across the back. And this is what starts.
That happens 3 times in this comic, where Daredevil looks away and Sabretooth gives him a playful slash across his spine. It just keeps happening.
I love this dialogue so much, Gary.
Dude.
He slashes Daredevil, really, and Daredevil is like, first off, Sabretooth says, "You're good, I'm better," and Daredevil says, "So what?"
Now what's going on? Like it doesn't the stakes are so fucking low in this. Why do you want to fight me? Because you exist.
So
Like
fucking
this
dumb.
makes me want to improvise a comic book very badly. Like just find an old issue of Daredevil, erase all of the dialogue, and just put in whatever makes sense.
Absolutely.
You know,
That would be if we ever
that would be a
do
blast.
if we ever do Duckfest again. That should be like one of the panels. We should do that for like 3 pages, and we should get like me, you, Will, and Cole to all fill in the same.
Like a reading?
Yeah, to do either a reading or to fill in the same page, and then I'll show the different stuff that we came up with for the same page.
It's a great idea. Yeah. I 100% will do it. So they're fighting. They're kind of cat and mouse chasing each other and stuff. The Daredevil's not a very good superhero. Most superheroes would be like, get away from civilians. He doesn't do that though. Sabretooth knocks him into an old man who is walking with his old wife, who's like, oh no, not my Daniel. Just the weirdest ellipses that I've ever seen. Daryl's like, he's okay, ma'am, but get him out of here. Turning his back, letting Sabretooth slash him again. And here Daredevil goes, why do you want to fight me? Again, just, I don't know, man. First of all, I feel like Daredevil should know who Sabretooth is.
Yeah, this is
At this point, like, why do they not, there's not a database or anything.
like, I mean, hasn't Daredevil been on the Avengers like at some point? Like,
I don't know if by this point, I know he has been, but I don't know if at this point. So they fight, and then Sabretooth goes into the sewers. This is all part of a cunning stratagem by Daredevil, where he's like, he thinks that he's going to have the advantage because I won't be able to do my high flying moves. But in the pitch black of the tunnels, you can't blind a blind man.
Garrett,
You know?
wait a minute. Didn't we start this run of issues by introducing? Is it Sabretooth on like the Freedom Force? Like, isn't he employed by the government to hunt down mutants right now? Doesn't he work for Mystique?
No, he's not part of that.
He's not
team.
part of that team. Okay, I was about to say like this
yeah,
would
I
be
don't
kind of
think so.
ridiculous if like Daredevil doesn't know like
Yeah.
the mutant hunting organization. That's
It'd be very funny.
Yeah.
Daredevil just doesn't pay attention. Like he's just too busy watching dogfights.
Too busy about worrying about being Catholic.
Yeah, it's vitamins to him. So he goes down there. They're all thinking about this, and there's this like back and forth between Sabretooth trying to figure out, he can't be that good unless he can see in the dark. So he realizes that he's like, gotcha, chump. You ain't the only one with night sight. But then later it's considered like a very, a big reveal that it's not just night sight. He's blind. So like being able to see, there's a lot of text about the difference between low light vision and night vision in this. Like it's a D&D source book.
Crazy.
But the characters are just talking to each other about it.
It's
Like it feels really weird. Extremely weird.
It's very fucking bizarre. It's also like you mentioned earlier. It's intercut with like a cat stalking a mouse for basically no reason. And you mentioned that like it's a very simplistic thing. It's just a weird idea to put in this comic book. Like it just doesn't seem to quite fit because they try to make Sabretooth this weird sympathetic character at the end, and I don't understand what they are trying to accomplish with this at all. It's very funny. The whole thing is very funny.
He stole a sewer wife. Like if the idea is like later the dad talks about the cat to the kid and he's like, the cat's just following his instincts, and like they're obviously trying to draw a parallel there. I don't think that you got to hand it to Sabretooth for having a sewer wife, because it's just an instinct. They crash through a wall into where sewer wife is. Daredevil turns his back to get slashed in the back for the third time in like 6 pages.
Yep.
This just keeps fucking happening.
I love
this
panel where he manages to throw Sabretooth into a wall, and he looks over at the sewer wife and he says, "Lady, get out of here." And she says, "I'm tied up." And he says, "I'll untie you," and then you run. Like it's just
it's very Mr. Boop. Here then Sabretooth goes, "You're stupid, devil man. You turn your back on me." And then comes up behind him and says, "You say you're the biggest bully on the block? You own New York, huh, devil man? It's like you dare me, devil, to take you down." Like that is some like, why do they call it an oven when hot food goes in, but cold food goes out or whatever?
Yes, absolutely.
It's like you dare me, devil, devil, to take you down. Like that. If Sabretooth is supposed to be all animalistic, why is he saying these like horrible sentences that would make Grammarly blow up?
Yeah, I don't get it. And meanwhile, the cat has caught a mouse and came to present it to Helmet Child. And Sabretooth and
Dad is playing with a plane in the scene. If you don't notice,
he is playing with a plane. Where is he getting? Is he doing a model kit? What the fuck?
This is the best comic.
This is so fucking weird, dude.
It's the weirdest thing we've done. Nothing is predictable in this.
They the fight continues and they crash through a wall. This time they stumble onto the body of a Morlock who I guess had tried to hide in the wall to save himself from the Marauders. But this is the big reveal
and rotted very quick.
Yeah. And like Sabretooth notices the way that Daredevil like looks at this thing, or more notably doesn't look at this thing, sniffs it and is like, oh, you're blind. And then he's like trapped underneath this thing and he's like, I'm trapped. And then in 2 panels later he's just up like with no we don't see him get out. There's not like the big Spider-Man lifting the rocks off of him or whatever. Like it's just I'm trapped, and then in 2 panels he's not trapped anymore.
It's pretty easy. And Sabretooth takes this opportunity to go for the lady, and he goes like, protect your throat, girl. She's tied up. I don't know what Daredevil expects her to do at this point. Sabretooth slashes her throat, allowing Daredevil to get him from behind, punch him out and stuff, and realizes she's still going to live. And this is where that sympathy thing comes in. He's like, he says that he knows she's still alive, but he tells Sabretooth that she's dead. He's like, what do you do with your kills? And Sabretooth's like, I don't know. The idea is like, it's him playing with his kill like the cat. Like the hunger, it makes me hungrier. And then runs away.
See a Sabretooth.
Classic Sabretooth.
Classic Sabretooth line. Now I'm going to go into McDonald's, I guess. I need a quarter pounder.
I'm out.
The Daredevil like strips a piece of cloth and like wraps it around this poor child's throat to stop her from bleeding out. And she tells Daredevil that like, he captured me and tied me up, but he never touched me. He didn't do anything bad to me. I was really surprised that he hurt me at the end. Like, I even have some sympathy for it because he was so gentle. And I'm like, lady, he just opened up your face, dog. Like, why did you?
Yeah, there's no gentle. If Daredevil wasn't there, like your blood pressure was low. You were bleeding out of your neck.
Yeah.
Like we just saw.
Yeah, absolutely. What the fuck? Why are you trying to make me feel bad for Sabretooth? I'm not going to feel bad for Sabretooth.
And then she says, like, I thought you were just a myth. I'm glad that you exist. So this is wrapping up the arc of whether like he should exist.
Yeah.
And then he's still angsting about it. Like, it's why I was hunted because I exist. That's why you were hunted, etc. There's the thing that I think that like, if I just read this when I was a kid and it just come out would feel impressive to me is that like, there are literary things happening here. Not good ones, but like, oh, Sabretooth is just like an animal, like the cat just plays with its prey. It's working on instinct. We're going to intercut that with the cat, and show that. Like that's kind of sophisticated for comics at the time. Daredevil has a complete story arc in this where he's like, one citizen thinks he shouldn't exist. He comes through and then he saves somebody's life. It kind of balances the scales. I get it. It's fucking nonsense in execution though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like,
the writing on this is just so fucking bottom barrel, dude. Like I don't know anything about this chick at all. I don't know if her usual stuff is like is a lot better than this, and this is weird. But it almost feels like somebody like ghost wrote this for her. Like she let her kid fill in because she was busy or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that bad that I don't feel like a professional writer wrote it.
The way that it's bad is not like other things are bad. Like there are bad comics that are just like, this is a shittily written comic. This is everyone is very awkward and like declarative and just saying things. There's one of my friends, I used to do a zine. When my friends drew a comic for it, one of my favorite things he would do is he would just have word bubbles kind of regardless of what was happening on the screen. So like some character would be like, let's have a snowball fight. And the next panel would be somebody with their face, like a snowball bursting on their face. And they'd be like, I don't know if I want to have a snowball fight now. Let's go get something to eat, through the snow. Like it would just like, there would be a disconnect. He was doing it for humor. That's what this is like, where characters are just like, what do you do? I don't know. All right, then let's hang out, and just like yelling out stuff that doesn't really match what's happening.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. Creator of my favorite superhero.
Just,
ladies and
just
gentlemen,
fucking,
and Nascenti.
fucking wild, man. Like I couldn't.
Yeah.
You told me like that this was an experience because you had read it before I did, and when I got to it today, that first panel where he's like, you're my wife now. I would die for you. I was like, okay, this is an experience.
Things escalate very quickly in this Daredevil issue. The last thing we're talking about is Uncanny X-Men 213, one of the most famous X-Men covers. Sabretooth, not in control of his actions, no less cat than man, face to face with Wolverine, growling at each other with claws out. But weirdly, this is a Psylocke issue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is the main focus of this. And this is Alan Davis doing the guest art. Alan Davis is amazing.
So good.
One of my favorite classic.
Yeah. I love this. I love the Betsy Braddock look with the Cerebro helmet on. Like all of the.
Oh yeah.
And this is like I meant to mention this in the last Uncanny we did because when she appeared to Wolverine, like it looked dramatically different from the other kind of appearances that we normally see. Like it just looked super fucking cool, and because of all this like splashes of color around her as she's using her psychic power, and it just looks awesome. I love this. And she's talking.
Well, this is also in that one she would just appear as a ghost. Here's where she uses her cool like butterfly eyes.
Yeah, the butterfly eyes is cool.
That appear when she's talking.
I just
to
love the
people.
little dots of color, like as she was appearing as an apparition or whatever. It was really, really neat.
Everything was great.
Yeah,
wonderful looking issue.
And this issue is kind of told from her perspective. She's going to be continually kind of checking in on the X-Men around her. Starting with Rogue, and as she talks about like wanting to be a part of the X-Men team, of like trying to figure out how to allow them to join her, allow her to help, and it's going to be her perspective on all of these different X-Men characters as she goes from one to one, and tries to help, and sometimes they just tell her absolutely not, shut the fuck up, Betsy Braddock, which is really mean.
No means.
Yeah,
you by no means you have to hand it to us. So she checks in with Rogue and she's like, are you okay? And Rogue's like, no, this is the X-Men's job. Like, I'm tired, but you have broken ribs. Stay out of this.
Yeah.
She checks in on Nightcrawler and Colossus in their respective comas, check in on Kitty Pryde, and she realizes this is where it's revealed that her fading away is progressive. Like, eventually she will just disappear.
Yes.
From this. She's going through, she's checking in on everybody's rooms. I really like this little bit, like checking in on the New Mutants rooms, seeing that they're not there. There's a weird little bit where she I didn't realize this was a thing, where she talks about how she was rescued from Mojo by the New Mutants, and Cypher, that's where she met Cypher, and Cypher's in love with her. And she's like, but how do I feel? And I'm like, Cypher's a young man, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you're supposed to be.
You should be tamping that down is what you should be doing.
Yeah. And look down here at the lower left, this New Mutants Annual #2, Ann M. N. That's Ann Nascenti, fucking editor for the X-Men who wrote that Sabretooth thing.
That's bonkers to me, dude. Like, it just doesn't.
Yeah. Makes no sense. So we go back to the tunnels where this is after they've been scorched. Wolverine, Magneto, Storm, and Callisto are looking for survivors, looking for surviving Morlocks and surviving New Mutants.
Yeah.
But everything has been scorched clean. Like, Thor's thunder just got rid of everyone. And Callisto's like, what could do this? Storm is like, lightning. And she's implying that maybe she did it.
Yeah,
which is real
because
weird.
there were lightning strikes around them as they were fighting on at the lake. And Callisto is super mad, but like Storm is just like, I don't know if I did this. Like maybe I didn't. I don't know how my powers work right now.
Yeah,
and yeah, like this is so weird because like we know it was Thor. Like I guess it just if it's just to set up some stuff where Storm gets her powers back, I'm all in, like whatever that takes. But it does seem weird to have these like weird inconsistencies, just because like how have we ever seen Storm cause a lightning storm from 40 miles away? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think this was part of her power set. I think also the way that she gets her powers back is she turns into a kid and then gets reset, because there's like a time where we hang out with young Storm, like she's like a very small child during the Extinction Agenda event.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Magneto is not accepting that the New Mutants are dead. They're basically saying, like if they were in the tunnels, they're dead. Wolverine can't smell them. They may as well be dead. He's like, we need help at this point. Maybe I should join up with the Hellfire Club. They offered me a position. We had to face the Marauders and they absolutely totally wiped our asses. Like, whipped our asses. It's not the expression. And so we should join up. And everyone's like, I don't know about this. Storm's like, these are the X-Men's deadliest foes. He's like, I used to be your deadliest foe.
Yeah.
Which I love reading that as in an insecure voice. Here's where Betty Braddock pops up as like, maybe I can do it. Like I could just scan the country for the New Mutants if I use Cerebro. And Storm's like, nah,
don't do that.
Can't risk it.
Yep. She says she's an unknown, untested quantity. I get it.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, Cerebro is a powerful device, so maybe there's some concern. Like, if you lose control in Cerebro, like maybe you mind wipe North America or something. But it does feel like especially mean to be like, no, absolutely not. If you want to help me, then you would do as I say. Like, it feels like a weird thing.
Yeah, help Rogue maintain security, and she can't help. Rogue won't let her help.
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine is like, maybe we should take her up on it. But Storm, she just got shook by all this stuff. She doesn't want to risk any more lives, So Betty Braddock is like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to scan the perimeter. So she's using Cerebro this whole time. She's not scanning the country. And when she puts on Cerebro, she gets the big psychic feedback and gets knocked off her chair.
Yep.
Which I feel like happens like 50% of the time you put on Cerebro in this era.
It couldn't pay me enough to get in there, dude. Like, it just wouldn't happen. Like, I don't care if I'm psychic.
Those brain butchers at Recall?
Absolutely. Yeah. We take a brief interlude to Los Angeles. We started this checking in on Dazzler, who was pretending to be Lila Cheney, and was on tour with Lila Cheney's band. And we saw Malice come out of the mirror. And like strangle her and put this like weird choker on her neck. And this kind of happens again. She comes out of a reflection and somehow convinces Allison to like go get dazzled up. And she's going to apparently out herself as the Dazzler. So that's all we know about that. We're going to go from that immediately back over to the X Mansion, where Sabretooth, like the normal Sabretooth that didn't just get into a fight with Daredevil and have some weird hunger cravings, just attacks Rogue.
Yep. Like a normal person using Sabretooth dialogue, knocks her out, smacks her and stuff, takes her out of the fight for now. Psylocke gets up and realizes what happened. She caught Sabretooth and he was so hateful that it shocked her. She puts on the helmet to alert the X-Men, but he's already infiltrated the mansion.
Yep. And
smashes up Cerebro. They're going to fight. He slashes her arm real good. She temporarily knocks him down, runs away, and he's going to chase her.
Yep.
There's shades of this. There's a very famous, couple famous issues where Sabretooth is loose in the mansion chasing somebody. It feels like the 90s issue where Sabretooth is chasing Jubilee.
Yes.
Is kind of an homage to this.
And she's specifically leading him away from all of their patients because they have, a temporary fucking hospital set up for all of the Morlocks that survived the Marauder attack. And Moira and her assistant Sharon. This is just a really
the nurse first appearance.
Nurse Sharon is here. Everybody is watching on the security cameras and saying like, oh yeah, she's leading him away from us to keep us safe. She's sacrificing herself to keep us safe. Also, just remember that like Psylocke also has broken ribs because Colossus fell on her out of nowhere, which is very funny to me.
Yeah. I like Betsy Braddock runs into the exercise room. This is one of the X-Men's rooms. I don't know who, but picks up a barbell and tosses it at Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Which that's pretty strong.
It's extremely strong.
That's pretty
it's also very awkward. Like just the actual being able to pick up one of those things.
The physics.
Yeah, the physics of it is really weird. But he just catches it and like crushes it into a tiny ball and throws it at her. And she narrowly avoids it only by jumping through the window.
Yeah.
Not good.
Which I love. It's what I would do. She has to land. She hangs on by a little pipe here, but it's her arm that was scratched, so it's difficult. He knocks her down, and they land in Storm's garden. Storm gets a floor of the mansion that has a garden, her arboretum. She finds Storm's knife. I love how she, we knew it was Storm's.
Yeah,
it's Storm's knife. And is gonna fight, but it doesn't work. And Sabretooth, punches her, starts knocking her out, and this is where Wolverine shows up.
Yep. And of course,
and the rest of the X-Men.
And the rest of the X-Men. Storm knocks him in the face with a staff, which is really, really good and satisfying panel where it's just whack, just right between the eyes. It's just very fucking funny
Love
to
it.
me. Yeah.
This is also prime meme, like me, August 31st, me September 1st, but reverse, like Sabretooth with a big smile, then Sabretooth with a big comical frown afterwards. The Sabretooth is doing normal Sabretooth stuff, like you made me mad, so you're gonna die. And Wolverine and Sabretooth get into it.
Yes.
To actually have their fight.
Their big fight. I love it that he throws Wolverine at one point, and Wolverine like literally just bounces along the roof. As a homeowner, I look at this and I'm like, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Like this is just terrifying to me. Please get off my roof. Please go fight on the basketball court. It opens to a hanger. There's big Claremont energy to this narration. They literally do that. Order will not be asked between them nor given, which is Claremont says that every other issue. But I love this little bit. They're talking about their skeletons there, and Wolverine dives and knocks Sabretooth off the roof into the pool. I thought he was going to use his incredibly heavy skeleton to drown Sabretooth. Yeah, absolutely.
With cool idea. I love Magneto walks up and he's like, I could take care of this, and he just makes some manacles out of things. He's like, I'll just take care of Sabretooth. But Betsy Braddock has her plan here. She's like, if we stop him, his psychic defenses will be too heavy. You won't be able to get any information out of him. While he's fighting with Wolverine, he's distracted. We need to let them fight while I infiltrate his brain. And they're like, oh, you're just going to sacrifice Wolverine. And she has to, like, we have to. He has to take care of himself. We have to do this.
Which is a good plan.
So she does.
This.
It's a good plan.
This panel of her, like, powering up and her like, nightgown, I guess is what she's wearing. Her dress is all, like, ragged, is incredibly cool. Like, I love all of the flowy art on this. Like, it's so fucking awesome. And it's made better because on the side, or like again going back to like the form of a fight, like you can actually see this fight between Sabretooth and Wolverine as they're literally biting each other and clawing each other. It's so fucking good. Like this whole page is really
action
great.
follows really well. Yeah, this would be a low key awesome page to get the original art for.
Yeah,
I love old Psylocke anyway. Like this is my favorite Psylocke, and then this is a great fight. I love this Wolverine costume. It's my favorite Wolverine costume. It's my favorite Sabretooth costume. Like. Love this shit.
She starts like going through his mind, and of course there's some bad shit in there about him and Wolverine fighting over the years, but eventually she gets to the part of the master that's controlling all of this, that's making him do all of this work, that's paying him to do all this stuff, and then the plot is revealed. They reveal it to Sabretooth, who's like, oh, we don't actually need you anymore. I kept you busy. Psylocke was trapped your teeny tiny mind, which is very funny.
I love that. Teeny tiny.
And then they throw each other off of a cliff into the water. This is the same cliff maybe that the storm fell off of? I don't know. There could be multiples.
It's a busy cliff.
Yeah.
I really like that Wolverine was in on it.
Yes.
Like we don't get to see the panel of her telling Wolverine like you must distract him or whatever. Like it's either he just intuited it or it happened off panel, but that's rare for this era. That something just isn't spelled out. Explicitly. He gets away. They can't find him. They can't scan him. But this is going to be okay. And the last page, they're talking about how they're going to fight the Marauders. They're going to go after them. They're going to keep coming until they get us. So we have to go on the offensive.
Yes.
And this is where they recruit Psylocke. When crunch time came, she thought before she acted. She thought of others before herself. That's what an X-Man is. If you want to join the X-Men, you're in. And she's like, that's exactly what I want.
And it's hugs all around. And she is now an official member of the X team. And that's where we're going to end the issue, because that's where the issue ends. This is really, really good. Like, I mean, excellent cover. Like, it kind of misleads you, but I mean, there is a Wolverine and Sabretooth fight, but it being like a lot of Betsy Braddock stuff is really cool. I didn't have a lot of experience with her because this is before all of the weird mind stuff where she gets transplanted into a different body, right? Like, so this is
yes,
yeah, like so this is
the Siege Perilous and Quanon and Revanche and all that stuff.
So I was really into this, and I can see how people would be really mad if all that happened eventually. Like if you were like really into Betsy as a character, and then all of a sudden like she's just an Asian person now. Like that would be really fucking weird.
For me, it was always just, I really like this era where Psylocke is on the team because she's a psychic, but she's not much more than that.
Yeah.
So like when physical shit's happening, like she's in danger. You know, she's useful to the team. She's very powerful. She's not like unstoppable. The Ninja Psylocke, the reason why I never liked that is because she's basically invincible.
Yeah.
You know, she becomes like the best fighter in the world. So she's never really feels like she's in danger. They eventually do, like when she joins X-Force in the early 2010s, the Rick Remender era, that made me like Ninja Psylocke.
Oh yeah.
A lot more.
That run is really, really great.
You know, but that we'll have to do that at some point. That's a great run of comics. The early 90s stuff with her where she was just eye candy who fought really well on a team of people who fought really well, like just kind of bummed me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is her joining it. You know, they need a psychic. It's not like that you can go without a psychic. You know, you don't have cell phones. So
you have to have communication on the X-Men team.
Somehow, yeah. Good issue. Good showing her in her place. Best issue of the stuff we read, you know, this week, I think by a lot.
Yep.
There's one more issue of Mutant Massacre. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to follow that into the Horseman reveal.
Yeah.
Of Archangel. So there might be some issues we skip. We have to summarize. I need to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the plan. And then after that, we'll see. We'll probably do another MCU roundup at that point. Like She-Hulk will be done.
Yeah, we'll have Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk,
you know.
Moon Knight, and Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know when the next major movie is coming out. I don't even know which one it is.
November. I think isn't it Wakanda Forever?
Oh, it's got to be. Yeah. I think that.
Yeah.
That trailer.
I think it's November.
That trailer looked fucking hype, dude. I was so fucking excited about that.
I'm very curious as to what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just really fucking bizarre to just not have the actor. And in a comic, that obviously that's no problem. Like a character dies, somebody else just takes up the mantle and it's no problem. You know? But in the movies, they don't want to do that because it would be very disrespectful to this real life person. You know, so it just really they put themselves in a real interesting spot.
I think that
with it.
At the end of that movie is Letitia Wright, Shuri is gonna be the new Black Panther. Like I just don't think that there's a way that they want a Black Panther, and I don't think it's disrespectful. Like it feels like the vibe of that trailer is like a majority of that movie is going to be mourning that character. Like he's going to be dead in that universe. Like I don't think there's a way that you can get around that. I am
no they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it'll be Shuri. I think it'll be the main lady of the fighting force.
Oh really?
I think Shuri's gonna stay like a tech, like a side tech character.
See, I figured since they were bringing in Ironheart, that I can't remember Ironheart's real name. But since they show her in that trailer, like in that like lab thing, I kind of just assumed that they were moving Shuri out of the lab and her into the lab. But who knows what the fuck they'll do.
They might. That's also like meta knowledge because Shuri is an anti-vaxxer. So I can imagine them not wanting to like pin the next, like that messed with the production of that a lot.
Yeah.
She
absolutely.
refused to get vaxxed and like it messed. So I can imagine them not wanting to put all their eggs in that basket. You know, who knows?
Black Panther 3, another funeral.
Yeah.
Whoops.
She dies of COVID. Damn, it's bad luck for Wakanda.
Yeah, Black Panthers keep dying all over the place, man. This is crazy. The weird thing to me is just that like Namor is going to be there. And when all of the Namor shots and all of the shots of Atlantis and stuff just really looked like Avatar to me. Like it's just like tall blue people that they're like seem to be finding everywhere. Like it just I don't know how to feel about Namor in the MCU at all. Like I don't really care about Namor at all. And then just to have him there with his winged boots is super fucking weird to me, man. Like I am just freaked out about the whole thing.
It's going to depend on how they handle it. Atlantis is a very silly concept.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's works really well in the comics because the comics are super silly, but the movie has always been a little bit more grounded. But the thing that I'm thinking that makes me think they might be able to do it is they pulled off Asgard. Yeah. And Asgard's incredibly fucking silly.
Yeah, it's true.
So, you know,
God,
maybe they'll do it.
The Asgardian bit in the most recent She-Hulk was fucking hysterical, dude. That was legit funny. Like I sometimes that show is a little like it's like haha funny. But this was like that was legit funny. I got some chuckles out of me. It was a great bit.
Yeah, the shape-shifting lady is funny.
Yeah,
I like that quite a bit. We get to go on the record of generally liking that show and going against internet men everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I'm not bowled over by it. It is real low stakes. It feels incredibly inconsequential.
Yes.
Like I need a little bit more drama and conflict to start coming in. But it's not like it's a 22-minute watch that goes by real easy and fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's very funny because they had to have already planned. This is getting to a little bit of spoiler territory, but like there was that little clip of like everybody in the universe reacting badly to She-Hulk, like the character, the actual like person in the MCU, and just a series of tweets and like videos of why does everything have to have a female version now and all this other stuff. And I'm like, y'all knew exactly what the reaction of the show would be when you were writing it.
Yeah.
Like they knew exactly what would happen. For better or for worse. So.
I was wondering, the villains, the minor villains they introduced at the end, they have a mysterious boss. In the comics, that would be somebody specifically, but it would be interesting if it was from that perspective. Like the villain, the person who wants to take out the She-Hulk, it's like Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
Yeah.
Like it's a shitty MRA guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That would be a fascinating direction to take it. Yeah. So anywho, we'll talk about that. Eventually, yeah. In the meantime, if you want to support the show and the network, you can go to patreon.com/duckfeed and give us some money. That goes a long way to, like I said, supporting us. You get all kinds of exclusive podcast and content for when you do that. You get to join the Slack channel, the Slack server. All cool stuff that you should do. You should go look into that immediately. If you can't, that's totally understandable. You should maybe leave some reviews or just tell your friends about the podcast. That helps a lot too. Yeah, we would appreciate it. It helps. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.